Commander James Walker stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Vigilant *, his eyes fixed on the main screen. The unknown vessel hanging in space before them was unlike anything humans had ever built. Its smooth, curved hull glowed with a soft blue light, and it was at least 5 times larger than the Vigilant *. "No weapons signature detected, sir," said Lieutenant Davis from the tactical station. Walker nodded but didn't relax. 20 years in Earth's defense forces had taught him caution. Maintain distance. Keep shields up. The strange ship had appeared at the edge of the TOS-CD system without warning. Walker's patrol was the closest human presence, sent to investigate. "They're hailing us," Davis announced. Walker straightened his uniform. "Put it through." The screen flickered, and Walker found himself looking at a being that was almost, but not quite, human. The creature had pale blue skin, large eyes, and a narrow face that ended in a small, lipless mouth. "Greetings," the alien said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Tull of the Galactic Council. We come in peace." 4 months later, Walker stood in the United Earth Government's Grand Hall as world leaders gathered to hear Ambassador Tull's proposal. The discovery that humanity was not alone had changed everything. Now they were being offered membership in a community of 28 advanced species. Tull stood on the stage, his slender arms spread wide. "The Council offers Earth protection, technology, and knowledge beyond your imagination. In return, we ask only that you follow our primary directive, the complete rejection of warfare." A murmur spread through the hall. Walker frowned. "The Council eliminated war 500 years ago," Tull continued. "Some species evolved beyond violence naturally. Others needed guidance. But all found peace brings prosperity that conflict cannot." President Rivera stepped forward. "Ambassador, while we appreciate your offer, humanity has always maintained defenses. Our history is defined by conflict." "Yes," Tull said, his large eyes blinking slowly. "We have studied your history. It is concerning, but also why we are here. Species with your potential for both creation and destruction need careful integration." Walker listened as Tull explained the Council's terms. Earth would have 5 years to dismantle its military forces. Defense ships would be converted for exploration. Weapons factories would be retooled for civilian use. Later, at the reception, Walker approached Tull. "Ambassador, with respect, isn't it dangerous to completely disarm? What about pirates, criminals, or species not part of your council?" Tull's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Commander, the Council maintains a peacekeeping force for such rare instances. Our technology makes violent resistance unnecessary." "So you do have weapons," Walker said. "We have tools for maintaining order," Tull corrected, "not weapons of war." Walker noticed something in the alien's eyes that troubled him. Was it pity? Or something else? Over the next weeks, debates raged across Earth. Most people embraced the Council's vision. The promise of advanced medicine, unlimited energy, and the stars themselves was too tempting to resist. But Walker wasn't convinced. At a small bar near the old military headquarters, he met with other officers who shared his concerns. "They're asking us to forget everything that made us human," said Captain Rice, his voice low. "Our drive to protect ourselves, our will to survive against all odds." Walker stared into his drink. Maybe that's the point. Maybe what makes us human is exactly what scares them. As Earth began its transformation, Walker was reassigned as a liaison to the Council representatives. He would help guide humanity toward its peaceful future. But as he watched the first defense ships being dismantled, a chill ran down his spine. Somewhere in the stars, something waited. And Walker couldn't shake the feeling that humanity would need its warrior spirit again, despite all the Council's promises of eternal peace. 3 years passed. Earth had changed. Half of its military was gone. Sleek Council ships moved freely through the solar system. New technologies made life better for most people. Diseases that once killed millions were now easily cured. Clean energy powered everything. Commander Walker, now working as a diplomatic liaison, sat in his small office reviewing council reports. Something wasn't right about the numbers. The reports say all outer territories are peaceful, he muttered to himself. But why are supply ships increasing by 30%? A knock on his door interrupted his thoughts. Lisa Reed entered, a civilian analyst who used to work in military intelligence before the cuts. "Commander, do you have a moment?" she asked, closing the door behind her. Walker nodded. "What is it?" Reed placed a data pad on his desk. "I found something strange in the old archives, a species called the Racks. They were part of the council 50 years ago, then suddenly disappeared from all records." Walker frowned. "Disappeared how?" "That's just it. One day they're mentioned in trade agreements, planetary councils, everything. The next day, nothing. Like they never existed." Walker looked at the images on the pad. The Racks resembled large, armored insects with 4 arms ending in claw-like hands. "Have you asked Ambassador Tull about this?" Walker asked. Reed nodded. He said the Racks chose isolation and moved beyond council space. But why remove them from historical records? Walker was about to respond when his communication device beeped. It was Marcus Bell, administrator of the human colony on Proxima Centauri. "Walker, we're picking up strange readings at the edge of our system," Bell said, his face worried on the small screen. "Moving objects, big ones. The council advisors here say it's just space debris, but our old military sensors say otherwise." "Don't do anything yet," Walker told him. "I'll look into it from this end." After the call ended, Walker turned to Reed. "The council is hiding something. They've been pushing us to decommission our long-range sensors next month." "And our last warships," Reed added. That evening, Walker met with Ambassador Tull at a reception celebrating 3 years of Earth Council relations. The alien diplomat seemed distracted. "Ambassador, I'd like to ask about the Racks," Walker said quietly when they were alone. Tull's large eyes blinked rapidly. "An unfortunate situation. They rejected our ways and chose to leave civilized space." "Were they forced to leave?" Walker pressed. "The Council never forces anyone, Commander. The Racks had disagreements with Council policy. They removed themselves from our records at their request." Walker didn't believe him. "And the unusual readings near Proxima Centauri?" "Natural phenomena," Tull said quickly. "Nothing to concern yourself with. Focus instead on the final phase of military reduction. 2 more years, and Earth will be fully integrated." Later that night, Walker met secretly with Reed and connected with Bell through a secure line they had created outside council networks. "I don't trust what we're being told," Walker said. "Bell, keep your old military sensors running. Reed, dig deeper into what happened with the Racks." "What are you thinking, Commander?" Bell asked. Walker looked at his friends grimly. "I'm thinking the Council isn't protecting us from something. They're feeding us to it." Reed's eyes widened. "You think the Racks are coming back?" "I don't know," Walker admitted. "But I know this. We're almost defenseless, and the Council seems very eager to make sure we stay that way." As if on cue, Bell's transmission suddenly flickered. "Commander, something's happening. Multiple objects entering the system. They're not council ships. They're—" The connection cut off. Walker and Reed looked at each other in horror. "Get to the old military command center," Walker ordered. "Wake up everyone who still remembers how to fight. I think we're about to find out what the Council has been hiding." The emergency alarms wailed across Earth's government center. Walker rushed into the crisis room, where President Rivera and her advisors gathered around the main display. The screen showed Proxima Centauri colony, humanity's most distant settlement. Red warning lights flashed everywhere. "What's happening?" Walker demanded. Rivera looked up, her face pale. "We lost contact with Proxima Colony an hour ago. Before communications cut, Bell sent this." She played the message. Bell's face appeared, panicked, as alarms blared in the background. "We're under attack. Multiple ships entered the system. They bypassed Council outposts completely. They're not responding to any communication. There. An explosion rocked his control room. They call themselves the Racks. The Council knew they were coming. The transmission ended in static. Walker's blood ran cold. The Racks, just as Reed discovered. Ambassador Toll entered with 3 other Council representatives. Their usually calm faces showed concern, but not surprise. A most unfortunate incident, Toll said. The Racks have apparently chosen to assert themselves again. Apparently. Walker's voice rose. You knew about them. You knew they were dangerous. We had historical information, Toll admitted. But we did not expect this aggression. President Rivera stood tall despite her fear. What are they doing to our people? And what is the Council doing to stop this? Toll's large eyes blinked slowly. We have sent diplomatic vessels to negotiate. This is surely a misunderstanding that can be resolved peacefully. Negotiate? Walker couldn't believe what he was hearing. They're attacking our colony. Aggressive response would only escalate tensions, another Council member said softly. The situation requires patience. Walker stared at them in dawning horror. You can't fight back, can you? Your species have forgotten how to defend yourselves. The silence that followed confirmed his worst fears. Walker turned to the President. Madam President, we need to reactivate every military vessel we still have. Toll stepped forward. That would violate our agreement. Earth must continue its path to peaceful integration. While our people die, Rivera asked. Some concessions may be necessary, Toll said carefully. The Racks may simply require territory and resources. Proxima Centauri is a small colony in the larger perspective. Walker couldn't contain himself. You want us to surrender our people, our world. Not surrender, Toll corrected. Strategic compromise for greater harmony. President Rivera's eyes hardened. Get out. All Council representatives, leave this room now. After they left, Rivera turned to her military advisors. How many ships do we still have? General Norton looked grim. 15 combat-ready vessels hidden in the Jupiter shipyards. We kept them operational despite the reduction program. Another 20 could be reactivated within days if we recall retired crews. Do it, Rivera ordered. Commander Walker, you're back on active duty. Find a way to help Proxima. Walker nodded. We'll need Reed. She's been studying the Racks. Reed arrived 20 minutes later with data pads full of information. I found historical records the Council tried to bury, she explained. The Racks weren't just any species. They rejected the Council's pacifism centuries ago. They believe predator species have the right to take from prey species. And the Council? Walker asked. They gave in. Every time. They surrendered territories, planets, even whole member species to avoid fighting. Reed's voice shook. The Council isn't a protective alliance. It's a herd of sheep that sacrifices its weakest members to the wolves. Walker looked at the star map showing Earth and Proxima Centauri. We have 5 days at maximum speed to reach Proxima. Let's hope Bell and the colonists can hold out. General Norton cleared his throat. Commander, even with 15 ships, we'll be outnumbered. Walker's jaw tightened. Then we'll have to remind everyone why humans were feared as warriors. The Council forbade us from fighting, but they're about to learn why. The hidden shipyard inside Jupiter's orbit buzzed with activity. Ships that had been quietly maintained despite Council orders were now being prepared for battle. Walker stood on the bridge of the Defiant Asterisk, Earth's largest remaining warship. Status report, he commanded. 15 military ships ready, sir, Lieutenant Adams replied. Weapons at full capacity. We've added 10 converted mining vessels with makeshift armor and point defense systems. Walker nodded. It wasn't much against Iraq's fleet, but it was all humanity had left. On the main screen, President Rivera addressed the gathered captains. The Council has formally requested we stand down. They've offered to negotiate with the Racks on our behalf, suggesting we cede Proxima Centauri and 2 outer systems, as a reasonable compromise. Angry mutters filled the bridge. I have informed them, Rivera continued, that Earth does not abandon its people. We have withdrawn from the Council's integration program, effective immediately. Walker felt a mix of pride and fear. Earth was now alone against both the Rax threat and Council disapproval. The ship's communication officer called out, Commander, we're receiving a transmission from Proxima Centauri. It's Bell. Walker couldn't believe it. Put it through. The screen flickered to show Bell's tired face. He spoke quietly from what looked like an underground bunker. We're still here, Bell said. Some of us. The Rax control the main colony, but we've established a resistance in the mining tunnels. They're stripping our world of resources, and, he paused, fighting emotion. They're treating colonists like work animals. We're coming, Bell, Walker promised. What can you tell us about their forces? 7 large warships. They consider themselves hunters, Walker. They talk about Council species as prey. But they seem confused by us. Our resistance surprised them. They expected immediate surrender like they get from Council worlds. This confirmed what Reed had discovered. The Rax were predators who had become used to easy victories. Keep fighting, Bell. We're 5 days out. After the call ended, Walker found Reed analyzing Rax ship designs. Their technology is advanced, she said, but their tactics are straightforward. They've never needed to develop complex strategies because no one fights back. Walker considered this. Then we'll do what they don't expect. We won't fight like Council species. We'll fight like humans. The fleet departed Jupiter the next day. As they passed Mars, 3 Council ships appeared, blocking their path. Ambassador Tull's face appeared on the screen. Commander Walker, the Council formally prohibits this military action. Return to Earth immediately. Walker stood firm. We're going to protect our people, Ambassador. Move your ships or we'll move them for you. This action will permanently end Earth's relationship with the Council, Tull warned. You never wanted a relationship, Walker replied. You wanted submission. Now you'll see what happens when humans choose to fight. The Council ships had no weapons. After a tense moment, they moved aside. As Earth's fleet continued toward Proxima Centauri, something unexpected happened. A small shuttle approached the Defiant Asterisk. Inside were representatives from 5 different Council species. We've come to observe, said their leader, a reptilian being named Creel. Some of us remember what it was to defend ourselves, long ago. The Council doesn't speak for all of us anymore. Walker welcomed them aboard. You'll see what humans can do when protecting our own. Reed joined him on the bridge as they prepared for the jump to Proxima. The Rax have never faced a species that fights back, she said. But we're still outnumbered and outgunned. Walker looked at the stars ahead. We have something they don't understand, something the Council forgot long ago. What's that? Reed asked. The willingness to die for others, Walker said quietly. They're predators who expect prey to run or submit. They've never hunted something that hunts back. The fleet accelerated to maximum speed. 5 days to Proxima Centauri. 5 days to prepare for a battle that would change the galaxy forever. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system. On the Defiance main screen, Walker could see the green-blue planet that humans called New Terra. 7 large Rax warships orbited it like hungry sharks. They've spotted us, Adams reported. Rax ships are moving to intercept. Walker turned to his crew. This is what we trained for. Remember, they expect us to run or surrender. They don't understand what humans will do to protect their own. He opened a channel to the entire fleet. All ships, battle plan Theta. Mining vessels, stay behind the battle line. Military ships, forward in attack formation. The Council observers watched in silent fascination as the human fleet moved with perfect coordination. The Rax ships approached confidently, their weapons powering up. They're transmitting a message, the communications officer said. A harsh, clicking voice filled the bridge. Prey species identified. Human. Surrender your ships and return to your home system. This territory now belongs to the Rax Dominion. Walker stood tall. This is Commander James Walker of Earth. We don't surrender to bullies. Release our people and leave our system, or face the consequences. Harsh laughter was the only response. The Rax ships fired first, powerful energy beams slicing toward the human fleet. But Walker had anticipated this. The smaller, faster human ships twisted away, spreading out in a pattern the Rax clearly hadn't expected. Return fire, Walker ordered. Earth's ships fired as one. While individually less powerful than the Rax weapons, the combined assault focused on a single Rax vessel. Its shields flickered and failed under the coordinated attack. They're confused, Reed observed, watching the Rax ship movements become less organized. They expected us to break and run at the first sign of their power. The battle intensified. 2 human ships were hit badly, their crews evacuating to nearby vessels and practiced maneuvers. A Rax ship exploded as Bell's resistance fighters, following Walker's instructions, attacked its engines from the planet's surface. But the Rax still outnumbered them. 3 human ships were destroyed, and the Defiant took a direct hit to its port side. Hull breach on decks 5 through 8, Adams reported. Shields failing. Walker saw the largest Rax ship, their command vessel, moving in for the kill. In that moment, he made a decision. All hands, prepare to evacuate, he ordered. Transfer command to Captain Reed on the Valiant *. Reed stared at him through the video link. Commander, what are you doing? Something they won't expect, Walker said calmly. Continue the battle plan. That's an order. As the crew evacuated in escape pods, Walker stayed at the controls. The Council observers refused to leave. We will witness, Creel said simply. Walker nodded and opened a channel to the fleet. All ships, pull back from Sector 7. I'm taking the Defiant in. With most systems failing, Walker piloted the damaged warship directly toward the Rax command vessel. On the screen, he could see the massive alien ship trying to move away. But it was too slow. They don't understand, Walker told Creel as they approached. Predators don't sacrifice themselves. That's why they'll never truly defeat us. The Rax commander appeared on screen, his insect-like face showing what might have been fear. What are you doing? This is not how prey behaves. Walker smiled grimly. We're not prey. We're human. The Defiant slammed into the Rax command ship at full speed. The explosion was visible across the entire system. From the Valiant Reed watched in horror and pride. Then she turned to her crew. Continue the attack. Don't let the commander's sacrifice be for nothing. The remaining human ships, inspired by Walker's action, fought with renewed fury. The Rax, their command structure shattered and their understanding of battle destroyed, fell into disarray. One by one, their ships retreated or surrendered. Bell's resistance fighters emerged from hiding to reclaim their colony. The Battle of New Terra, as it would be known, was over. Humanity had won, but the galaxy would never be the same. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so crowded. Representatives from all 28 council species sat in rising tiers around the central floor. News of the Battle of New Terra had spread across the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, a prey species had defeated a predator. Reed stood proudly in the center, representing Earth. Beside her stood Bell, still showing scars from the resistance fight on Proxima. Behind them, the 5 council observers who had witnessed Walker's sacrifice watched silently. Ambassador Tull stepped forward, his expression unreadable. This emergency session will now begin. We are here to address the unprecedented military action taken by humans against the Rax Dominion. You mean our successful defense against invaders you were willing to sacrifice us to, Reed corrected, her voice carrying through the chamber. Murmurs spread among the council species. Many looked uncomfortable. An elder council member, a floating being of pure energy, moved forward. For 500 years, the Council has maintained peace through nonviolence. Humans have disrupted this balance. Peace. Bell laughed bitterly. Tell that to my people who were enslaved by the Racks while you negotiated. Creel, the reptilian observer, stepped forward unexpectedly. I must speak. My species joined the Council 300 years ago. We abandoned our warrior ways as required. But watching humans fight for their kind awakened something we had forgotten. Other Council representatives began to speak up. The Racks have taken 3 of our outer worlds in the past century. We gave up colonies rather than risk conflict. We've been calling surrender strategic compromise for too long. Toll raised his hands for quiet. Yes, sacrifices were made for the greater harmony. But now the balance is disturbed. Humans have shown a capacity for organized violence that threatens everything we've built. Reed stepped forward. No, we've shown a capacity to protect ourselves and others, something you've forgotten how to do. The chamber fell silent as recordings from the Battle of New Terra played, showing Walker's final moments. His calm face, his determined words, his ultimate sacrifice. Many Council members turned away, unable to watch. This is why we must now decide humanity's fate, Toll said after the recording ended. Such capability for warfare cannot be allowed to spread again among Council species. Reed tensed, prepared to defend Earth's right to protect itself. But the elder energy being moved closer. Perhaps there is another solution. Humanity clearly possesses something we have lost, the will to stand against predators. Yet we fear what would happen if humans were free to use this capacity without constraint. What are you suggesting? Reed asked. A compromise. The elder replied. Humanity will be forbidden from wars of conquest or aggression, but authorized as the Council's dedicated defenders. The chamber erupted in debate. Many feared creating a warrior class within their peaceful society. Others feared the next Racks attack more. After hours of debate, Toll presented the final decree. Humans shall never again fight wars of aggression or conquest, but shall stand as guardians against those who would disrupt galactic peace. Reed studied the document carefully. So we become your protectors, but maintain our autonomy in security matters. Yes, Toll said. In simplest terms, humans will be forbidden from fighting, except when fighting is necessary to protect Council worlds. Reed thought of Walker, of his sacrifice. He would have accepted these terms. Humanity's strength has always been in defense, not conquest. There is one more thing, Toll added. The agreement will be known as the Walker Protocol, in honor of your commander's sacrifice. Reed felt tears in her eyes as she signed the document. Earth would not join the Council as originally planned. Instead, it would serve a greater purpose, teaching a peaceful galaxy how to protect itself again. Bell leaned close and whispered, "Did we just become the galaxy's designated warriors?" Reed nodded. Yes. They've forbidden us from fighting, by making sure we're the only ones who can. 5 years after the Battle of New Terra, Admiral Lisa Reed stood on the observation deck of the Walker *, Earth's newest and largest peacekeeping vessel. Below, on the training grounds of the Peacekeeping Academy on Mars, human instructors worked alongside representatives from 15 different Council species. They're learning quickly, Bell said, joining her at the window. His face still carried scars from the Proxima resistance, worn now as badges of honor. Reed nodded. Some more than others. The Taylor and Vordax have strong warrior traditions in their distant past. It's like watching someone remember how to ride a bicycle after 100 years. In the 5 years since the signing of the Walker Protocol, much had changed. Earth had established the Peacekeeping Corps, with Reed as its first admiral. The Corps' mission was not conquest, but protection, standing between the peaceful Council worlds and those who would prey upon them. Message from Earth Command, a young officer reported. The Council observers have arrived for the ceremony. Reed straightened her new uniform. Today marked the official graduation of the first non-human peacekeepers and the formal adoption of the Walker Protocol across all Council space. The ceremony took place in a great hall built where Commander Walker had once trained Earth's defense forces. A statue of Walker stood at its center, his face calm and determined as it had been in his final moments. Ambassador Toll, now the Council's High Representative, approached the podium. He looked different, stronger somehow, less hesitant. 5 years ago, he began, humanity taught the galaxy a lesson we had forgotten. We believed peace meant the absence of conflict, the elimination of all violence. We were wrong. The hall was silent, filled with beings from across the stars. True peace, Toll continued, requires guardians willing to stand against those who choose violence. We thought by forbidding humans from fighting, we would make the galaxy safer. Instead, we found that fighting, for the right reasons, with the right limits, may be the highest form of civilization. Reed watched as the first class of non-human peacekeepers took their oaths. Among them were species who had once looked down on humans as dangerous and primitive. After the ceremony, Reed and Bell visited the memorial wall where the names of those lost at the Battle of New Terra were inscribed. Walker's name was at the center, in slightly larger letters. He would have been proud, Bell said quietly. Not just of us, but of them. He nodded toward a group of alien peacekeepers studying Walker's statue intently. They're rediscovering something they lost, Reed replied. The will to protect others, even at great cost. A small council ship appeared in the sky above, heading away from Earth. On board was a delegation from a newly discovered species, invited to join the council. What did you tell them? Bell asked. About the protocol. Reed smiled. I told them the truth, that humans are forbidden from fighting wars of conquest or aggression, that we serve instead as the guardians of peace. And did you tell them the irony? Bell asked with a slight grin. That by forbidding us from fighting, they made sure we'll always be fighting. Some paradoxes don't need explanation, Reed said. In deep space, at the border of Council territory, a Rack scout ship approached cautiously. It had been 5 years since their defeat at New Terra, and the Dominion was testing boundaries again. The scout detected 2 human peacekeeping vessels on patrol. Without hesitation, it turned and retreated back into the darkness. No shots were fired. No words were exchanged. The battle that had changed everything had become legend even among former enemies. After one battle, the galaxy had forbidden humans from ever fighting again, by ensuring they would always stand ready to fight when needed. On the bridge of the Walker a young cadet looked at the retreating Rack ship on the scanner. Should we pursue, Admiral? Reed shook her head. No need. They know who we are. And more importantly, they know what we'll do to protect others. The cadet nodded, understanding filling her eyes as she looked at the commander's chair, where Walker had once sat. That's the real victory, Reed said quietly. Not that we won a battle, but that we never have to fight it again.